We are both recording and live on YouTube right now.
So you just need a motion to reconvene.
So moved.
Do I have that motion? Okay. Do I have a second?
Someone second it?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Domingo just texted me. He's joined us by audio.
Oh, is he the phone number? The ends in 0133?
Yes, that's him.
All right.
He's muted, Yancy.
Domingo, you have to unmute yourself. Domingo? Did you let him know to unmute himself, Bill? Can you text him?
Yep.
Thank you.
If it's helpful, Nancy, I can just call him and play a speakerphone.
I forgot how you, I think it's either *6 or *9 to unmute
He's
yourself.
trying to unmute. He just said.
Just look up the instructions real quick.
You just tell me if you want me to do it. I'll just call him and put him on the speaker in case he doesn't move.
Well, let's give it a try.
Okay.
It is 6. It's *6.
Sorry, I couldn't figure it out.
That's all right, Domingo. You're on my speakerphone. Can you just count to 5? Let's see if the governing body can hear you.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is that clear, everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So just for the record, on my personal cell phone, Domingo was called by me, and this is the same person.
Great. I apologize. I'm on a field here about to practice starts in like 10 minutes and got 40 girls waiting for me. So I'll just jump right in if council may agree.
Of course.
Okay, so I'll make it brief. So regarding the displaced residents of 111 West Street, as of today, we're down to 27 hotel rooms at the Crown Plaza. However, all but 2 to 3 of those residents have secured permanent housing and are in the process of moving to their new homes. We're cautiously optimistic that no one will be housed in the hotel by early April, which will be, that would be terrific news. As far as where our residents will be living, approximately 50 residents are staying with friends and family until 111 West Street is again habitable. More than 25 residents have relocated to other housing authority properties in Bergen County from the Housing Authority of Bergen County and also from Cliffside Park Housing Authority in particular. We have approximately 10 residents in nursing homes given their medical needs. And the bulk of the remaining tenants have found new apartments throughout Bergen County utilizing their Section 8 vouchers. And this includes approximately 30 residents that are leasing apartments in the new Evo property on 40 Bennett Road, which just opened up 2 weeks ago. As far as the rebuild of 111 West Street, we've signed the contract with the new elevators. No part of the old elevator system is salvageable, so the entire elevator system will be replaced. The old elevator will start getting fully ripped out on Monday, I believe. And as part of the project, we're moving the new elevator machine room from the basement to the second floor. And this will ensure that future floods don't destroy our elevators again. Unfortunately, the elevators are custom, which takes time to build. So our new elevators won't be operational for approximately a year. Aside from the elevators, we're moving forward with the redesigning and rebuilding of the other systems in the building. As much as possible, we're moving all the mechanical equipment above the floodplain. The elevators are still the longest lead time at this point, so we anticipate the building won't reopen for the residents until spring of next year. So that's my very brief update, and open to questions.
I have a question. Ken, is it okay?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you for this update, Domingo. And I understand also that you're looking for a place to house some staff. You and I spoke about it during the week. We exchanged some emails. Is there a particular amount of desks or workstations that you're looking for?
Well, we have, as part of assisting our residents, we've had 5 employees that were displaced from 111 West Street as well, because our offices were destroyed as well. And they've been housed in the hotel. It's been great because the residents are there. We're able to, meet their needs right where they are. But, by being successful and housing everyone in the hotels, now we've become homeless. So we've been looking for space. I do have a space I'm looking at tomorrow within Inglewood. It's just, we found it online, and we're hoping it works out. I'm not sure how exactly to pay for it yet. We're working with insurance to see if they'll cover it. But we're in that process now of just finding a space for about a year to house 5 or 6 employees.
Okay, I do have a law office in town. Speak to Mr. Bailey if it's appropriate, and I have some workstations. I can see if it's comfortable and everything. I don't want there to be an appearance of impropriety or anything, so just speak to Mr. Bailey if you are out of space.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Any other questions for Domingo?
I have a question.
Yeah, Judy, please.
Domingo, can you hear me? Okay. I'm just curious, for the tenants that are moving into their own apartments, are we still going to provide meals for them?
No, so the residents at 111 West Street before the flood, we're independent living. So we're just like any other apartment building. Our residents meet all their needs. We love 111 West Street because it's so central to supermarkets, shop rates, everything they know. But it is independent living. We're essentially like any other landlord. We do more than other landlords, but we're essentially just like any other landlord.
Okay. I just wanted to check. Okay.
All right. Any other questions for Domingo? Otherwise, we'll let him get to his son's baseball game.
Also, if I may, Domingo, you may want to consider Englewood Hospital, see if they have some space. And if people are working remotely and revolving into the library, if there's an open space that's available, speak to the director there.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
All right. So have a good night, and thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Nancy, can you make Susan Scavone a panelist?
Yes. Here we go.
Hi, Ms. Scavone. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Hello?
You let us know if you have a baseball game to get to.
No, my kids are
Okay.
all older.
All right. So, we had some questions at the last council meeting, nothing, shocking or anything, but just, wanted to just review the process of, how Millennium is working with the FEMA grants, how that works, is it, what risk do we have with our capital budget, and things like that. So if you could just explain some of the process. I think, there's a lot of people from the public on, so that'd be also very educational for them as well.
Well, thank you for having me here tonight. I've been working with Englewood on your disaster recovery operations since the onset of COVID. So I was in charge of your FEMA COVID applications, your CARES applications, your ESIAS applications, and now we're at IDA. And what we do at Millennium is we work with FEMA, we work with your departments, we work with your finance office, your purchasing office to try and capture every available item and funding mechanism that's in place for public damage. Okay, so what I work with is the public side of the damage, the public assistance side, not the individual assistance side. When a homeowner is, is affected by a storm, FEMA will open up individual assistance. What I do is basically just for the city and the city properties. So we go in and we start by doing a damage assessment and a damage inventory. And we start to itemize through talking with the various departments, your OEM, your city manager, as to where did the city of Englewood experience damage in Ida. And you sustained significant damage. We put together basically then a damage inventory, which goes line by line as to, what were your costs for debris removal, debris disposal, roads that were impacted, any type of sewer lines, whether it's sanitary or storm, any culverts, bridges, parks, it runs the whole gamut. When a president declares a disaster, it is usually just for emergency protective measures and debris removal. Since Ida was considered a major disaster, FEMA opens up all of their categories. So we run pretty much soup to nuts. Everything that got damaged in Englewood, we identify in a damage inventory, which at this point right now has 31 items. So we're basically working with 31 different areas of your city that public, not private, that was damaged. We will collect all of the labor costs, contractor costs, equipment costs, any of the repairs. And then what we do is we look at, FEMA is a reimbursement to put you back where you were pre-storm. Okay. But in some instances, it doesn't make sense to put you back to pre-storm because if another storm hits, the same thing's going to happen again. So we also take a look at and we explore with FEMA what's called 406 mitigation, how to make you, a city, more resilient for the next storm. So right now we are going through all of these different line item damages. I'm working with probably almost every area of your city. Everyone has been tremendous with getting us information and data so that we can provide the proper information to FEMA so that we can begin the reimbursement process and, start to look at inspections and the potential for mitigation in some areas.
Terrific.
Thank you. So are there any areas that we're at risk or that there's a concern we might not get? Are there any deadlines that we're at risk for missing? Anything like that? FEMA's a puzzle. There's all kinds of different deadlines. Every deadline that comes up, we've either had to extend the deadline or we're meeting the deadline. So certain deadlines will be for your debris removal. That had to be done by March 5th. You were done well before that with DPW. Your emergency protective measures, your police and fire, their presence in the aftermath of the storm, that was complete. There might be some areas where we're not just quite sure yet if maybe there was some debris in a waterway that we're not quite sure if it was all taken out. We did an extension for that just until the engineer is back, because I do know that he was injured. So we did an extension for that. But as far as getting the information in, we have 18 months from the date of the disaster to pretty much do all of what's considered your permanent projects. Those are damages to roads, bridges, culverts, parks, buildings, any buildings that flooded, any type of sanitary or storm drains that were damaged. We have 18 months to complete those.
So we're actually tracking very well. We already have your debris disposal information down because FEMA calls it cradle to grave. We know where the debris came from. We know where the storm started, but where did that debris go? And what was its final resting place? What's its grave? And that sometimes is a little bit more difficult to get to because we have to look at who did your disposal, what their tipping areas were, where they disposed of it, were they DEP sanctioned and licensed, did it go out of state? So we have to kind of track where the garbage went. And we've actually gotten through that already. Your DPW has been phenomenal to work with.
Ms. Marin?
Yeah, I have two questions and a comment. The first question is, this may be very naive, but do we have to do the work and spend the money before the reimbursal?
Yes.
Okay. The other question is, if there was a project, let's say we had identified a potential problem area, and we had floated, let's say, a bond issue to cover the repair. And of course, Ida comes along and does what we had anticipated would happen. Are we still eligible to, even though we had set aside funds to do that repair, can we still apply to FEMA for reimbursal?
The question is, and I guess my confusion is when you say the repair, that indicates to me that there was damage prior to Ida. If the damage occurred in Ida or it was exacerbated in Ida, then yes, FEMA will reimburse. But if you had, let's just say you had a park that your swing set was broke and Ida came in and flooded the park, it didn't break the swing set.
No, I understand that. No, because when you put these lists together, you try to identify problem areas. Okay, we understand each other. I just wanted to thank your company. I've been since I'm on the council, which is only a little over a year, I've been very impressed with your the reports that I've seen and the number of grants that you've located for us to apply to, and many that we've received. And as I say, I thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Melanie. As Ed Farmer and I started this business close to 16 years ago, and it's always nice to hear that our clients are happy with our grant writing services. Melanie is phenomenal. She's wonderful.
Well, it's been very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kim.
Please, go ahead.
Hi, Susan. My questions go in two directions. First, I want to talk about the assessment that was done, the exhaustive assessment that identified 31 different categories or damage concentrations. Similar to the damage that was suffered by the city. And I know this is not a residential assessment, but part of the need that Englewood has is to identify and help residents identify the needs and the damages that occurred to them, and using as a blueprint or a jumping off point. While it may not be an exact correlation and oranges to oranges or apples to apples, it certainly puts a roadmap in place for for our use and our helping to identify with residents the things that they need to look for and work to remedy. So the report that you've generated, is that something that we can get a hold of? Because you're going to have to submit that to FEMA. Is that something that you're able to disseminate to the council?
It's not a written report. It's a portal.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what we do is we pretty much have utilized a lot of what your engineer has identified for us, and through different meetings that we've had with FEMA. And we put together the damage inventory. The damage inventory becomes the basis for the projects to get reimbursed.
Okay.
Okay. So if we had a street, and I know we've gone through so many streets on the Zoom meetings, or a great example is the non-congregate sheltering, which Domingo was just talking about. That's a damaged light item.
Mhm. So the portal that you sort of consolidated all of this information into, is there a way to do, some sort of, summary of the items that make up that 31, group?
I can ask FEMA to run that. I've seen them do it before. I don't have access to do that. We have what's called the PDMG, which is a manager that FEMA puts with us to walk us through all of the items that FEMA is going to need. I have seen them print a DI list before.
Great.
I don't know how they do it, but I can ask for that.
I would very much appreciate that. And I think that would help us greatly, with helping our residents and getting a true assessment of what everyone needs to be wary of. The other avenue is the impact to our budget and our capital. Would you step us through what this is going to mean to our budget and our capital needs going forward, and whatever else we need to hear from you about that?
Well, again, a lot depends on what the repair costs ultimately come in at. What we work on first is the low-hanging fruit. It's your force account labor, your equipment that were used, and for your police, fire, and DPW workers. That is something that's not covered by insurance because, again, FEMA is reimbursement. You have to put all of your damages through insurance first. And then after insurance reimburses, FEMA will come in and potentially close the gap for any deductibles or anything that's not covered by insurance. So the first thing we work on now is we're working on DPW for force account labor, overtime, and equipment. For major disaster, any DPW work for debris removal, your straight time, your overtime, and your equipment use is reimbursable, plus your full complement of benefits for your straight time hours. So that's actually a good thing because you're getting reimbursed for your straight time hours, which you were paying your employees anyway. You're going to get reimbursed your overtime hours, which is something that's always a huge hit to a budget. And you're reimbursed for your equipment usage. That's equipment that you own. You would be using it anyway. FEMA has a cost code and they give you an hourly stipend to use that equipment. So it's a tremendous amount of documentation that your DPW has to provide to us. And they do a great job. We put that in. We put any of the contract work for debris removal in, your tipping fees, any additional cost containers that were brought in, and all of that gets wrapped up in one project and goes in to get reimbursed. I can tell you it's probably going to be in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands as I see it right now. It was a big storm. There was a lot of debris. There was a lot of time. For your police and fire, we're eligible to reimburse your overtime and their equipment usage. So right now, those are my low-hanging fruits that I like to get out the door and back into your accounts. When we start getting into the permanent projects, where we had maybe a road that was damaged, or a sinkhole, or we might have had manhole covers that were damaged. We might have had a sanitary or a storm pipe that was damaged in the storm. Those, are harder to quantify at this point because a lot of times you have to go out, you have to have your engineers look at it, you have to come up with what the repairs are, and then get a contractor to actually give you the estimate. You have to pay for it. You have to see if insurance will pay for any of it. And then ultimately it goes to FEMA. Those are projects that take longer time and could be more costly. I can't give you an exact number because we don't have them all yet.
Sure.
But they're going to be expensive. And they will now anytime We have DPW workers that might be helping out and assisting in a road project. They may be doing some of the road projects themselves. Again, we get their straight time, we get their overtime, and we get their equipment use. So we're constantly drilling these projects down, these damage inventory line items, to make sure that everything we can get for Englewood, everything you're putting in, we want to try and get back. FEMA is a 75% reimbursement. You will always be on the hook, for lack of a better term, for 25%. That is your non-federal match. The president has the ability to raise that to 90% or 100% like they did with COVID. But at this point right now, IDA is a 75-25 grant, reimbursement grant.
Okay. So the labor costs and our equipment costs, we look for retrieval of virtually all of that back. The infrastructure items, those are the hard costs that we've got to put out and wait for FEMA to return, and presumptively much of that will come back at about 75%.
Yes.
Is that
Correct.
your estimation? Okay.
Correct. One of the hardest things that it's very difficult when you have so many damages to be able to say, okay, we're just going to go out and pay for everything, just get everything done. And it takes time. It takes time as a council, as your finance officers to see where is the money going to come from to make the repairs. Once we have the repairs done, it's a pretty simple process to get it through FEMA. The hardest part is to get the damages identified. Where did they occur? Because, again, Englewood suffered tremendous damage. So it took us weeks just in talking. And every time we would find one thing, we'd find another damage. So, we're not saying that every damage right now, we have a lot of them. We fix them and we bring them back to pre-storm condition. You'll get 75 cents on the dollar after insurance, if there's any insurance. That's the key, though. And those are the little pieces that take time, because insurance has to adjudicate every claim. If you lost a police vehicle in the flood, if you lost a fire engine in the flood, we have to have it adjudicated. And unfortunately, you have to buy that piece of equipment before FEMA will come in and pick up the 75%.
Okay, thank you. Please put a star next to that portal report. I think that's going to help us. I know you were writing it down, but please put a star next to it. I definitely want to get a hold of that, and I think the residents of Englewood would benefit mightily from the information we helped them put together. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Susan? All right, then. Again, thank you. I know this is technically a job for you, but your care and passion and your concern for the community is evident in everything you do, and I really appreciate that. And you're helping us go a long way to making the city whole again. And I really thank you very much for that.
Oh, it was a pleasure being here. And again, if you have any other questions, and Councilman, I'm going to send the email to FEMA tonight and ask him if he can. And then once I get it, who would you like? Who should I send it to?
To Yancy, and she can distribute it.
Yep, we'll
Okay.
send it to our city clerk, but I would like a copy of it as well. And I'll send you my email address.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, I'm just going to jump ahead in the meeting to the resolution honoring Faith Ringgold. Unfortunately, got a little bit late, and Ms. Ringgold, we outlasted her. But we have a representative. If Dorian, if you're on the Zoom call, can you raise your hand and Nancy can promote you? What's that?
On Zoom? Hold on. I'll raise my hand. Yeah. Raise hand.
Coming up as Ken Rosen's.
Okay,
Yeah, I
here
don't know
I
what's
am.
going on.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
Here I am,
Um,
Victoria.
thank you. And if you want to promote Charlotte Bennett Schoen.
Okay.
So this was a resolution the council did last year, but we never got a chance to read the resolution into the record. And which I'll do in just a moment, and we'll be voting on it later. On a personal note, I'm delighted that yesterday at Mount Sinai, the hospital at which I work, the medical school there, we give out honorary degrees every year, and these have gone to former presidents, Nobel laureates, basketball Hall of Famers. And yesterday, the dean announced that Faith Ringgold would be getting an honorary degree in May. So I'm very glad this resolution is going to be outdated in a few weeks because it says 23 honorary doctorates and it'll be up to 24. And I could tell you the buzz in the room was electric and everyone was still talking about it today. There are some other very significant honorees, but everyone was talking about Faith. That's just power. And I was very happy to brag, even though I had nothing to do with it, that she's in my town. So I'm just going to read into the record, resolution honoring Faith Ringgold for Women's History Month. Whereas Faith Ringgold, internationally celebrated artist, educator, award-winning author, and community activist, whose profound and powerful work is included in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Museum of Modern Art, Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum, Studio Museum in Harlem, National Museum of American Art, National Museum of Women in the Arts, Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, and the Hyde Museum of Art. And whereas Faith Ringgold has received 23, soon to be 24, honorary doctorates, including from her alma mater, City University of New York, and the Art Institute of Chicago, and has received over 80 awards, including from the National Endowment for the Arts, the New York Foundation for the Arts, the John Simon Guggenheim Memorial Foundation, and the NAACP. And whereas Faith Ringgold was born and raised in Harlem, New York, and named Professor Emeritus at the University of California, San Diego, where she taught art from 1987 until 2002. And whereas Faith Ringgold has been a resident of Englewood, New Jersey since 1992, where she has produced important art characterized by remarkable creativity, personal courage, and significant leadership, and whose Anyone Can Fly Foundation has empowered youth with art education scholarships. And whereas Faith Ringgold has a body of work that spans 6 decades that includes profoundly human representations of African-American history, and whose 1963 iconic American People series documented what was happening during the Civil Rights Movement and has impacted momentous political and cultural change. And whereas Faith Ringgold has recently been headlined in the New York Times about her extraordinary exhibit, which fills the new Museum of Contemporary Art in New York City. And whereas within all spheres of her life and work, Faith Ringgold has established a standard of excellence through diverse media, including painting, sculpture, quilting, performance art, writing, and illustration, bearing witness to and celebrating neglected historic and cultural treasures. And whereas this resolution is a partial recognition of Faith Ringgold's international renown, the city of Englewood is proud she has chose to have her home and studio here. We therefore be it resolved that the city of Englewood is honoring Faith Ringgold, commends her leadership and achievement and commitment to art and humanity, and congratulates her and extends its sincere best wishes for continued health and success. So thank you for being her representative. Doreen, do you have anything to say on her behalf?
I'm really here to say thank you very much. I spent the day with Faith. She's a force of nature. She worked very hard to get to where she is and all the recognition. She has had tremendous institutional support, as you just said, and we're really grateful for this honor. She's very grateful. And it got a little late for her, so she asked me just to say thank you. And we look forward to the ceremony. And just thank you. She's very grateful. She flew over the bridge from Harlem to Englewood, New Jersey in the early 90s, and that was her dream.
Charlotte, any words?
Just how lucky was I? You get different bonuses when you're on the city council, and Faith and her husband Bertie were in my district. And it was a joy from day one. It's a joy till today. I just want to share with everybody that the state has also followed our lead and done a resolution from the state of New Jersey for Faith. And either tomorrow or the day after, I will zip over to Jones Road and ring the doorbell and deliver it. Dorian, I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh, me too. And I just want to say one more thing, that you can see her work at the new Museum of Contemporary Art in New York City. The entire museum is devoted to her work. It's an amazing exhibition that's really worth seeing.
Thank you. Anyone from the council with some comments, or Mayor Wilds? Yes, please, Charles.
I think this was a long time coming. I put this on the docket as the council president probably 4 months ago?
About, yeah.
4 or 5 months.
It was in honor of her birthday back then, yes.
Right. We wanted to honor her on her birthday. And to be honest with you, the person who brought it to my attention was Amari Knott. She's the one who brought Faith to my attention. And she sent me a number of articles about her. And she's truly a trailblazer. And I wish her continued success, good health with that. And tell her I apologize for not getting it to her sooner, because the goal was to get it to her on her birthday, which is in October, as I understand. And so I am honored to have the opportunity to learn something about somebody that has been so impactful to this world and to this community. So tell her thank you on my behalf.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And if I may just sum up, it's legacies like Faith that actually serve as a bolster for us to come through the therapy if we need it through the social distancing. And we have institutions in our community, but there's no replacement for the human resource and the talent that bring people through. So thank you to you, to Ken, to Charles, and to Charlotte for reminding people of what's important. And there's I think whether it's the books or the quilts, there's something of a creative, I think, that's inspired in each of us. It's just overwhelming to have such a connection to such a talent. So please send all of our love.
I will. Absolutely.
Judy, please.
I just wanted to add that when that article about Englewood appeared in the Times this past weekend, I read the article. It was a great article. And my instinct was to say, it's a great article, but it didn't mention all the amazing people that have chosen to live here, live together. And of course, she's a star among stars. But we are all so fortunate to be part of this town. And it's about time we focused on some of the positive things. And really, as I say, I think she's amazing. She has been for a long time. And we are very fortunate to have her here. So thank you. Thank her.
Amen.
Wonderful.
Ken, just one comment, just by way of education for the rest of the council as well as the entire city. I think it would be fitting and appropriate to put a link of Faith's work and works on the city website, and work with the library to feature Ms. Ringgold's work, so that it can be an educating process for our students and adults. So this is a fitting tribute in Black History Month, Women's History Month, and it's fantastic. So hopefully we can get those two things done, both the city website as well as reaching out to Esperanza, and I'll do that tomorrow and see if we can't get Miss Ringgold's work.
And if the public library needs copies of Faith's books, let me know, and I will make sure that they have all her books at the library.
Excellent.
Library. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Dorian, what's your last name?
Bergen. Dorian Bergen.
How funny is that?
Mystery solved. I forwarded her my link in case we didn't get it in time. That's why she's showing up as Ken Rosenzweig.
Oh,
okay.
I'm like, what's going on?
Okay.
Ken, before you continue, I'll tell somebody an interesting chit chat that I learned.
Well,
Faith-
we should get on with the meeting.
Oh, okay, but it's about
Yeah,
faith.
yeah. Okay,
I'll
thank you.
Yes or no?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm at the museum. The whole museum is her artwork. And I know that one of these books that she got awards for is called Tar Beach. And it's about growing up in New York, and you go up to the roof to Tar Beach. And I've had the book, my kids have had the book. And somebody says to me, you know, the artwork that she did of the same image, did I know who owns it? Do you know who owns it? Oprah.
Well, one
I
of the
would-
pieces. knows.
Yeah.
One of the pieces, but I was duly impressed. And with that, great job.
And Dorian, you can tell Faith, Sinai's graduation is mercifully in the afternoon, so.
Okay, good.
All right, well, thank you so much, and thank you for
All right,
sharing this
thank
council
you.
meeting,
Thank
and please send her my regards, our
Okay, great.
regards.
Doing great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. So I leave. Yeah, I leave.
So moving on with the agenda, we have approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve which meeting minutes are these?
These are all of January 2022. It was a workshop, regular meeting, a budget meeting, and a special meeting.
Okay,
So move.
Second.
roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Cohen's not present. Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. So the motion's passed. So Bill, I think we have to, you said we have to move this,
Yeah,
these two ordinances?
if I could just quickly explain, under the municipal land use law, these two ordinances, which have to do with land use, are required to be referred to the planning board, which they were for, they call it consistency review. They were, and the planning board has 35 days to review it and respond to the governing body. The 35 days has technically not run, and I believe it's on the planning board's agenda for next week. So under the land use law, we'd really need to carry the public hearing on these two ordinances to our next meeting, which I believe is April 5th.
So do we have to give any notice, or this serves as notice?
This serves as notice.
Okay,
Bill, do I have to republish for public hearings?
I'll give you a call in the morning, Yancy. I don't believe so, but let me just confirm that.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, so I'll just state, anyone who's here for the public hearing of ordinances 2201 and 2202, we are continuing it on the next council meeting of April 5th. Okay, so now we will have the public comment on agenda items. I know we have a lot of members on the public on the Zoom call this evening. So this is only with regard to the resolutions that we're going to be voting on from 88 to 107. So if you have another issue that's of concern to you, we definitely want to hear from you, but that would just be a little bit later in the meeting, hopefully in probably 15 to 20 minutes or so. So we really just want to comment on just these resolutions, and then later on we'll have an open public hearing. And you can comment on both issues. You just don't get one. So, so is there anyone from the public?
Yes, we have one hand raised. I'm just setting up the clock. Okay. Diane Jansen, just a reminder, you have 2 minutes to speak. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Thank you. Diane Jansen, 589 Ridgeland Terrace. This is with regard to 105 and 106. Which pardon me, I'm sorry. Said through the professional service contract. Aren't there two of them?
So I think it'd be 106 and 107.
I see, it's on the other page. I'm sorry. Well, first I'd like to say, I wish we wouldn't have had a delay. We should have seen Faith in person. I think it was disrespectful. That's number one. Number two, with respect to 106 and 107, I'd like to know if those two companies are related. In other words, if one's a subsidiary of the other, or if they're subsidiaries of a parent corporation. And the reason I raise that question is because if you're paying one to do executive search and they don't fill that search rapidly, you're paying the other person, the other company to provide interim services. Thank you.
Yeah, they are independent companies, but thank you for raising that point.
That it, Diane?
Yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. I see Councilman Cohen has his hand raised. That means he's in. Let me just promote him to pen.
He's not here. Who is he?
Nobody else has their hand raised though.
Okay. All right then. So can we have a motion on the consent agenda? These are items 88 through 104. And then we'll do the non-consent agenda one by one.
So moved.
I second.
I
Roll
have
call, please.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm looking at this, and I think Ms. Jensen said the same thing. Award, I just have on I would just want to understand. Under the non-consent in 106, award a professional services contract to New Jersey professionals to do the executive search. We had two parts of this, right? There's two parts to this, if I'm not mistaken, right?
So 106 is Jersey Professional Management, which is
Right.
the search company.
Mhm.
And 107 is New Jersey Community Solutions, which is the interim city manager
Right.
consulting group. So two separate, so those are the two parts, yes.
They're not
So
part of.
106 is for the search, 107 is for the interim.
Yeah, and 107 is under the non-consent, right?
Yeah, we put both of
Right.
them under non-consent.
Okay, all right.
But I just missed that. So which one is in the non-consent?
So for the non-consent, we have three resolutions. One for honoring Faith Ringgold, so I don't think that's going to be controversial. 106 is for the search firm.
Sure.
And 107 is for the interim city manager.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
And we'll announce it again before the vote, so everyone's knows what they're voting for. So we do have the motion for the consent agenda. Any other comments about it? This is 88 to 104.
And normally the 88, 89, and 90, we put the members' names on there in public so the public knows who they are.
Yancy, what do we usually do?
As long as it's been agreed to in advance, yes.
Right. So what are we voting on there though?
Would you like me to go through them? I could do that.
Yes, please do.
Who's that?
Too many paperwork, so much paperwork. Okay, so for number 88, for the Board of Health appointment, it's Josh Tenzer. It's a reappointment.
Right.
For the Traffic Advisory Committee, these are all reappointments. David Litvin, Craig Solomon, and Alida Frizzell.
Okay.
And for the Housing Authority, also reappointments are for Alfonso Wilby and Alicia Lee Gerfine.
Okay. Okay.
All right, any other comments on the consent agenda? All right, can we take a roll call?
So moves.
Oh, I think we had the motion and second already.
So you need a roll call. Okay. Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren,
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. Okay, so now we'll move on to the non-consent agenda items. 105, which we wanted to separate out just to honoring Faith Ringgold for Women's History Month.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I think Judy beat him out. We all just made comments.
I have a question. Yancy, since we did this back like in October, so we're gonna have two resolutions? Or what do we do?
We could, because one was honoring her for her birthday, and this is for Women's
Well, it
History.
wasn't honoring her for her birthday, it was just honoring her.
It
We
was,
were gonna
it
do
was,
it
it
for.
was on the occasion of her birthday.
Right, well, no, really her activism and her work, right? It was a combination of things, right? So we're gonna have two? Is that what we're saying?
We could if you'd like.
All right, we could talk about that. All right, let's go. I just want to make sure. We can give her I don't care, we can give her 10 if we want, It's fine by me. So if she wants two, she got it.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen, Councilman Hamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren,
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. Okay, so now we'll move on to 106, which is for the search firm, Jersey Professional Management. Are there any comments about this?
I have one question. Bill, when
Yeah.
you send over the resolution, it had a completely different title. Do we need to note the new title?
No, it's not like an ordinance.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure.
Yep.
I'm sorry,
Okay, do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Did you want to see if there's any questions?
Oh, I'd ask before the motion, but any questions now before the roll call? Okay, so roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren,
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. That passes. And now on to the last resolution. So this is for the interim city manager with New Jersey Community Solutions. So I guess we'll take a motion and second, then any comments about it.
So move.
Second.
So any comments or concerns by the council? Well, I'll just say that, yeah, we have an election coming up. And most of this service agreement overlaps with the time during the election. And, I think we're living in a time in this country where elections have come under scrutiny and outright hostility. And I think, we're only responsible for these 5 square miles. And I think we have to do everything within our power to ensure that our elections are held with the utmost integrity and beyond reproach. So we need all hands on deck for this. So and we need help and we need manpower for it. So, and this will definitely help with that. So I really hope everyone is in favor of this. Otherwise, I think in our own small way, we'll be adding to the discord in this nation. So that's just my feelings on that. I feel very strongly about it.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you feel strongly about that, but the process is flawed. And if we're going to talk about elections, then we're going to step into some other kind of territory that I don't think you want to have this conversation publicly like that. It should be specifically about Englewood. It should be specifically about how we doing business. And that's what it should be. So that's how you ask people.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, the Englewood election that's going to take place in June.
No, but it's more than it's more than election. You're talking about putting somebody in place to run the city. That should be regardless of whether it's an election or not, that we look at it that way. But the way this has been handled, I told you the other day, I didn't agree with it. The city manager resigned on last Sunday. You called me this past Sunday for a week to go through without us having a conversation. And we had meetings in between. So what's the sense, you're the council president, that was a sense of urgency. I would have thought that everybody would have been called that Sunday. We would have had some conversations to see how we were going to address that, not the next Sunday behind that. And that's just that's just my opinion. And maybe my expectations are wrong, but I think that we should have handled this, in a special meeting a long time ago, really fast, because the importance and the criticality of that particular position. Not because it's an election coming up, but because of the criticality of the position.
Well, just to be practical, the notice of resignation was on a Monday, so there was no possible way.
It was a Sunday night. We got a Sunday night at 9 p.m.
Well, that's essentially Monday. We wouldn't have had enough time to call a special meeting. We couldn't even discuss. What? Please let me speak. We couldn't.
Well, I'm just telling you that.
Please,
let's have
please let me speak, Mr. Cobb.
I don't care what you say.
We couldn't even discuss it at the Monday or Tuesday meeting because we didn't have time to give notice on that. And we've all had time to speak to the person in charge here. He made himself fully available for over 72 hours, and we're working with alacrity. And you were contacted immediately after he was contacted. All right. It's okay if you don't want good elections here, that's fine. Judy?
Can I just say that the elephant in the room, Charles, is the fact that our city manager, is no longer, has handed in her resignation, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we provide, the city with the best leadership during the time that we need to select someone, hopefully, that's more appropriate for the city. And I think that at this point, we should work together. We've been presented with someone, to my mind, that is a very experienced person that can work with Yancey and with Catherine, and in other words, to maintain the smooth running of this city, which is a complex city. And I think the fact that we're doing it as quickly as we are, because I don't know if the public is aware, but I'm going to mention it, because Sonia has taken personal leave until the last day. So basically we are without our city manager on a day-to-day, even though she theoretically is our city manager. So all I'm saying is, as a group, we should be working together to go past this and do the best we can to get the best we can. And having this very experienced guy come in for up to 20 hours a week to support our terrific staff. I think the only reason Ken mentioned the election is that our staff is now, there's a tremendous amount of time that's going to go into the election, and that's why we must have backup. And I applaud Ken for acting as quickly as he did. I don't even remember when I heard about it. I'm not going to give you my opinion, but I think your disappointment and however you want to characterize it is being aimed at the wrong person. Anyway, I think we should move ahead, look forward, and I believe that we're going to be in a better position when this is over than we were before.
Well, let me just address this, Judy, to you, since you called Charles. Judy, let me just say this to you. What I said was, We got a resignation letter email on Sunday at 9 p.m. What I said are factual, that I was not contacted from Ken until the next Sunday. So all that time going through that time, I'm saying, what happened? We all knew what happened. And then you come tonight and say to me, well, you need to make a decision right now after we met a guy for 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. You can't tell me how to vote. You can't tell me how to feel. But I'm saying the sense of urgency, because this position is so important. When we got that, we should have been setting it up. We could have had a special meeting. We had time to have a special meeting put on there. And that's all I'm saying. I'm saying to wait till the next Sunday, I don't think that's right. And you can disagree with me all you want, but that's my opinion. It took too long. That's the critical job in the city of Englewood. And we've been down this road, for those who sat on the council, with replacing and getting the interim, as well as getting a permanent. And all I'm saying is, if this is so important, why didn't we react sooner? As a body, we should have met sooner. That's all I'm saying. And you know what? And I'm going to leave it there. I don't think nobody could dispute the timeline. And that's all I'm saying. Here's the timeline. Here's where we're at. And that's all I have to say about it.
Council President.
Yeah, please, Mr. Cohn.
I just want to point out for whoever's, for this council, that the last 10 minutes is, and I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong, because I'm not getting into all that here, because I think things that are happening here have been happening for a long time, from all directions. But I think we need to understand fundamentally that the reason we're going to be now looking for our, fourth, fifth city manager in like 3 years is because of what happened over the last 10 minutes. Because people looking at our council meetings over the last 10 minutes are not going to want to be candidates to be our city manager. So let's all get it together and understand, what is causing the fundamental problems in Englewood, which is
I can't hear him.
I think.
Yeah, Michael, you froze.
That's it.
Okay.
I couldn't hear you,
Okay.
Michael. You faded out.
All right. Any other comments, or we'll just go to a vote?
Can you hear me or
Roll
no?
call, please. I'm just going to go to a roll call at this point.
Okay.
All right, Councilman Cobb,
Dang.
Councilman Cohen.
Sure. Can I make a quick comment at this point or no?
Okay. I mean,
I just want to say that, let's just understand what we're voting on here. We're voting on here to understand that we have no city manager, and if we don't vote to have an interim, we will continue to have no city manager. This is not a long-term decision. This is not a 2-year decision. This is literally a 12-week decision to make sure that over the 12 weeks, the city has somebody as a warm body functioning for the basic tasks. So I don't understand how we can not have that, at least minimum representation. So regardless of what I think about the process here, I don't know how I can vote anything other than yes.
Councilman Hamer,
I abstain.
Councilwoman Marin,
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
it's actually 11 and a half weeks, but yes. So motion passes 3-0. Okay, so now we move on to communications from the governing body, the city manager, Mayor Wilds.
Give me a minute just to get settled here. Thank you. And I think it's well taken how important or critical it is at this point that the council appear united moving forward. Lest I opine publicly and get the lawyers pissed off. Ladies and gentlemen, today Congressman Gottheimer, who's running this year to represent the new district, will include Englewood beginning in 2023, announced a plan to help lower energy costs as well as create more sustainable and environmentally friendly practices. It's a multi-tiered plan involving increasing use of domestic oil sources, strategic global partnerships to reduce oil consumption from international bad actors, and increasing usage of solar, wind, and other alternative sources. Everyone is hurting right now from the cost at the gas pump and the heat for our homes. I applaud our congressman for taking this initiative on this issue, and I hope that our Congress as a whole will act swiftly to help alleviate the burden of high energy resulting from Russia's terrible actions in Ukraine. It is filtering down to the city of Englewood. Today, we had a wonderful ribbon cutting event at Bergen Pack, where they broke ground today on a $10 million renovation and improvement project. They raised $4 million from donors and $6 million from Bergen County, which helped them grow their footprint in Englewood and offer increased educational programming in the arts. On hand were many county and state officials. We want to thank the county executive for shepherding these funds, and for my successor and predecessor mayor for his leadership in this stellar institution. Also yesterday, Englewood police were able to apprehend and charge a man suspected of committing 2 robberies in January. Many thanks to them for their hard work and to the community for helping the investigation. Our fire department has also been through many changes lately, and we're working to keep the community informed. Recently, promoted Deputy Fire Chief Jeffrey Kaplan joined me last week on my Friday Coffee with the Mayor session and shared with us his legacy after following Chief Anderson's leadership of this stellar battalion. All I can say is we are in capable hands. Again, the deputy chief stepped out and went to Surfside, Florida on his free time in order to serve the residents there that were in jeopardy. I will be celebrating Women's History Month this coming Friday in my Coffee with the Mayor session hosted by the library at 11 a.m. We will be hearing from Assemblywoman Ellen Park. Again, there are new frontiers that we in Bergen County have forged, and it's our privilege to honor those at the forefront and at the beginning of their careers. Thank you. And again, I urge the council to be as cohesive as possible under the circumstances.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Carr.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and to listen to what the council and the mayor have to say. And now it's your decision to interpret what's being done here. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the Black History events that were hosted by me at the library. I think if anybody attended it, it tells you that all the progress that we believe we made in Englewood is that we're regressing now based on history, and these are factual history that's telling you these things. So I would say to people, understand where this community is going as opposed to where it should be going based on the people who tried to build a community for all. So it's very important to understand the history of the city of Englewood. And for those who don't understand it, they should listen, or it would have been important for them to attend these meetings to see how the city was growing in one direction based on how people work together, since everybody's always talking about people working together or the lack thereof. I want to recognize Women's History Month and the contributions that women have made, whether it be in your own household or in individual businesses or whatever. They are the critical element to what makes everything work. So I'd like to thank and say thank you to the women in celebrating Women's History Month. And I'm going to say that we have to continue to understand this community. I want to thank Domingo and his team and Gordon Johnson's team and Joe Brisky for the work that they have done around the folks at 111 West Street and the Bergen Family Center and all the nonprofits in the city of Englewood for their efforts to continue to help those who have been displaced or those who are without. These people are doing a tremendous, tremendous job in the city of Englewood, and I thank them for that, and that the people who have been displaced, who are being placed in new residence, that they have good luck with their new housing and that success is on the way for them. And Domingo's working hard to get them back into 111. There's a lot of work to do. We still have a budget that needs to be approved. And there's work to be done around that budget to understand what we need to do for the city. And more importantly, I am going to be advocating that there is no development until we get an assessment of the infrastructure in the city of Englewood, because that's important. You can't put some projects up that are going to fail down the road. So it's important that these things get taken care of as well. So there's more to come on that. And again, stay safe. We're not out of COVID yet. So please take care of yourself. Thank you.
Mr. Cohen?
Hi, everyone. A few things. Well, first of all, just off the cuff, I just want to give a shout out of thank you to. So I gotta get used to calling Gordon Johnson Senator Gordon Johnson now. But I want to publicly just thank Senator Gordon Johnson. We had an issue in the second ward, over the last 24 hours. Where Suez Water was going to be working on a water main and shutting off water over the Purim holiday, which would have been, let's just say, not very good. And the senator quickly jumped into action, connected me and the community to the folks at Suez. And I got to give credit to the folks at Suez who right away recognized what was going on and right away made sure to adjust the schedule and worked with us very well. So just want to really thank Gordon, thank Suez for helping rectify the issue, which otherwise would have been a significant problem. Just want to make sure to thank those people who deserve our appreciation. Also, like I said, I got cut off at some point, but in terms of the city manager search, in terms of all the comments that we're hearing about, you're going to know what's happening here and jump as you will. We have to continue to remember that the prospective city manager candidates watch these meetings. The people that are looking, the companies that we hire to make sure to find us candidates, watch these meetings. We need to provide an atmosphere which makes the city of Englewood's governing body attractive to both future candidates and to the people we all represent. I mean, there's a reason why we're going through, city managers, faster than anything I've ever seen in my life. And you know what, we can say what we want, but regardless of what the problems are, we've got to recognize that there are problems. There are reasons why this is happening. And we need to work on those issues. If we want to get anybody to come here in the first place and stay in the second place. So, let us all be cognizant of that, as we move forward in this process at this point. The reputation of Englewood and its governing body needs to be one which is attractive to potential candidates. We are a city which requires, serious talent at the city manager level, and we need to be able to attract such talent. The other thing that I really wanted to mention tonight, and the last thing, because I didn't want to get into too many things, so I wanted to make sure this gets, the full attention that it's due, is, I was, kind of flabbergasted when I started getting dozens and dozens of calls, throughout, not just, my ward, but I was getting calls, from, folks in all the wards, Coach Dion and other folks, all about the sudden firing of.
I think we shouldn't talk about, Bill.
Talk about personnel matters in open session.
But all
Councilman Cohen, you can't talk about this in open session.
Okay.
Please, Michael.
Okay.
The matter will be any other matter, it'll be in accordance with the personnel policies and procedures in the city and the requirements of New Jersey state law.
So I would just hope that we could have a closed session about this as soon as possible. I think it's critical that we have a closed session about this as soon as possible.
It's in the works. Yes.
Yeah, I hope that we all understand why it's so critical to have one as soon as possible, because I will be asking for one until it happens. So with that, I'll respect what we're allowed to say and not allowed to say, obviously, on these meetings. But like I said, my expectation is, an immediate closed session to talk about that issue. And with that, a happy Purim for everybody who celebrates, and thank you all for attending.
Ms. Marin?
Oh, okay. Well, first, although I don't know if it's official yet, I'd like to welcome the new districts that were drawn. The third ward is going to increase by 274 voters. I welcome all of you. I hope I'll get to know you somehow. I hope as soon as the weather gets better, I can walk the district and meet a lot of you. I would also like to say that perhaps it's because I'm the newest member on this board. I'm also the only woman on the board. I believe in moving forward. I love my city. I think it's a fantastic city. And I don't want to dwell on why, how, when, where. I believe things happen for a reason. I think, as I said, I was delighted to see that we have a search firm now under contract. We're going to have an interim assistant who is an experienced city manager. I don't want the people in our town to worry about things falling through the cracks. They are not. And as I say, I'm very proud of us that we moved as quickly as we did. I also agree with Michael Cohen that I think the issue that he was alluding to should be covered immediately. I thought we would be able to discuss it in closed session tonight. But whatever it is, we cannot allow things like that to happen in our city, and certainly we should be discussing it. So anyway, thank you very much. And as I say, I think we're a great city. And we have an interesting council. We're a very diverse group, even though there are only 5 of us. And somehow we are going to manage to make this work. Thank you.
Mr. Hamer?
Just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. There are certainly critical issues, and these are definitely interesting times, inside of Inglewood and outside of Inglewood. Stay tuned and pay attention, please. Thank you. Be safe. COVID is not over with, and new variants are still coming our way. So please take care of yourselves, your neighbors, your families. This is important. Thank you.
Thank you. So it was March 11th, 2020, that the WHO declared coronavirus a pandemic. And it's been very sobering to think about the past 2 years and the number of lives that have been lost and number of lives that have been affected. I think at least in this state and in this country, I'm not a public health expert, but I am definitely getting the sense that, we're entering a much different phase in how we deal with this disease, but we can still see it's a challenge throughout the world. Just something to reflect on after 2 years. I'm very happy that we've, in just really a few days since we've learned, we now have a bridge to the next leadership for the city, and that we have all the support to make sure that city residents get all the services that they need, and that we're able to do everything that we need for that. I wish everyone a happy Purim who's celebrating, and a happy St. Patrick's Day for those who are celebrating that as well. I hope it's a joyous week for everyone. And I know we have a number of people from the public who wish to speak, so I want to leave my remarks short tonight so we have more time for the public to speak.
Ken, if I may, March 17th was actually the establishment of the city of Inglewood on St. Patrick's Day. Everybody should appreciate that moment in history. May I ask the interim city manager, when is the post effective? Is it now or April when the current city manager departs?
So current city manager is till April 1st, I believe. And the interim that we hired tonight starts April 11th and serves through June 30th. So those 81 days.
Thank you.
And in the interim, in between, Yancy is the acting city manager, so there's really no gaps in it.
So
So happy birthday to Englewood. I didn't get it anything, and to my Aunt Debbie, also March 17th. So
Our governor, our Irish governor, noted that the minute he came in to swear me the last time, it's a special day for our city. And the challenges that we've been through with Mother Nature and everything testing our mettle, we're doing great, everybody. So thank you.
Okay, and Charlotte Bennett Jones, March 17th too. Okay. All right, let's get to the public, please. You probably got the sense of this from just what we were talking about a few minutes ago. And Bill, maybe you'll chime in here. I think it's okay for the public to say what they want with regard to personnel. The council can't. We have rules and laws that govern how we speak about things, and certain notifications have to be done. So we're deliberately going to be short on comments tonight with regard to any issues people bring up about it. Bill, any comments for the public?
No, you're correct, Council President. There are, among other things, notice requirements that have to go out to give anyone that's involved adequate time to be involved in the discussion if they choose. And also there are personnel policies and procedures in the city that it's required to follow, as well as state law in any matters regarding personnel issues, whether it's across the board. It's the same protocols and procedures apply to everybody. And at this point, it mandates that the governing body keep it confidential pending proper investigation and notices and what have you.
One point, Council President, would be in order if Mr. Bailey just spoke at a very high level as to process. There's a misunderstanding that the council makes hiring and firing decisions for city employees. There are specific responsibilities for the council and different responsibilities for the city manager, and it might help clear things if before the comments came, the attorney spoke and spelled out the things that each of us is responsible for.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. And again, at a high level, and this is applicable across the board under our form of government pursuant to the city charter, the city manager is ultimately responsible for hiring, firing, promotions, disciplinary actions, with the exception of department heads. If it involves a department head, then in terms of termination, then the governing body has a say in terms of hiring and firing department heads. But with the exception of those few department heads, it falls under the auspices of the city manager under the city charter. So the governing body has no role in that at that stage. And again, that's, as Councilman Hamer said, that's the high level. It applies to everybody, regardless, because I don't want to say there's any particular thing for a particular circumstance. That's just the rules of engagement.
Okay, Yancy, are there any emails that people sent to read into the record? You're muted. Do you want to do that at the beginning or at the end?
Anything involving personnel cannot be read into the record at this point.
All right, I think, were any of the emails acceptable?
Bill, I sent them to you.
No, they cannot be read into the record at this point for the reasons I just.
Even the public can't comment on?
The public can comment in the public comment period, but a city official should be not reading them into the record.
But I thought if people can't attend the meeting, the clerk, they can send an email to the clerk to read it into the record, as if they were attending the public session.
A question they can, but under the Rice Law and other requirements?
No, I'm just like in our, because we've done that before at some other meetings where people couldn't attend or didn't have Zoom access.
Yeah, this involves personnel. And my concern is that if a city official is reading it into the record, it gets misconstrued that the city has already formed an opinion on this situation, which it has not.
Okay, I understand what you're saying here.
The playing field to be balanced and a fair opportunity for all, and that someone's not surprised that, oh, had I known that this comment was going to be made by a city official, I would have responded. So,
All right. Okay, so Yancy, can you open up to the public?
the public itself can comment.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be viewed as some type of ratification by the governing body or any of the city professionals.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, just a reminder to everybody that you have 2 minutes to speak. After 2 minutes, you will be cut off. Also a reminder for rules of decorum, no foul language, etc. All right. First is Deborah Prince. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you for the time. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. I was really horrified by the news of the firing of Gila Comet, who's been working for the town of Englewood for over 10 years. She not only has worked above and beyond a regular city employee, she unified our community and she gave a wonderful, her heart and soul to all ends of the community. Seniors, children, Asians, Blacks, whites, Spanish, it does not make a difference to her. I personally, years ago, used to work for the city, and I'll tell you, I worked in the recreation department. It was a very uncomfortable experience for me. I then left. I'll try to be very diplomatic. Gila stuck it out for years for the sake of unification and community, tying this community together. And I have to say, I was horrified when I heard she was fired for the reason she was fired. Okay. For the few months when she was given certain projects that were not substantiated financially by her, by Merle Simons, they were not supported financially. She had given an assignment to do a senior Zoom session. When do seniors go on Zoom? Okay. She was given certain projects which were to fail not because of Gila Comet. I feel she was set up, and I feel this was a terrible, terrible decision from the city manager who is now leaving. And I really hope everybody revisits this situation for the sake of community unity, which you had discussed all night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Diane Jansen. Diane?
Hi, Diane Jansen, 589 Richland Terrace. I'd like to bring up that the federal spending bill is bringing $178 million in local projects to New Jersey. Bergen County, there are 16 municipalities that are receiving over $13 million. What happened to money for Englewood? What happened to money for our community center? Places like Cliffside Park is getting $250,000 for a recreational facility. Leonia is getting $250,000 for police, fire, and emergency medical services to use the same frequency. So that now brings me to Millennium. There are standards in the field that you pay out a certain amount of money and you get a return on that investment in terms of grants. I would like the council to give that report. I was very disappointed to hear that a partner for Millennium Firm said they're going to give us a lot of money, but they don't have an estimate to date, and they can't give us a list of what they've compiled because they placed it in a FEMA portal. wake up. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else, Yancy?
You have a long list of people.
Okay, great.
Okay. Next is Janet Sharma. Please unmute. Sharma?
I'm unmuted. Hi, everyone. I also, as Diane said, I was almost stunned. My blood was almost boiling to think that Millennial knew of a list of projects that nobody else knew about. We've been asking about this kind of thing, not just for individual residents, but what is the city doing about, certainly we knew about the debris removal and police and fire and so forth, but the waterways and what's being done to correct things with the waterways. And if that's knowledge that you all know or that Millennial knows, but they're not sharing with the other people who are so concerned, the scores of nonprofits that have been working in Ida relief since September 1st, it's just really infuriating. Also, I am very pleased with the Bergen Pack ribbon cutting now. And I know so many seniors, if you go to any performance at Bergen Pack, even some of the ones that you might not expect, there are a lot of seniors there. They really enjoy Bergen Pack. It's a vital resource for our community. I also second the comments that have been made about Gila. She had done so much for the seniors in Englewood, and I was stunned to see that she had been fired from her job. Also, if you've hired an interim city manager, who is it? Are we able to know who that person is at this point? It's vital to the functioning of the city, and so many of us, the things that we need from the city all filter through the city manager. So it would be good to know who that person is. Thank you very much.
You. Want to go to the next person?
Yes, please.
Okay. Next is Janelle Johnston. Please unmute.
Good evening. My name is Janelle Johnston. I live at 81 Chester Place in Englewood, New Jersey. And I am coming online to say thank you to all of those who aid in just having the city ran. I would also like to say in regards to our POP program, I just need some clarification or clarity as to what happens next. Before the city manager left, we had established a relationship/partnership for our youth employment program, of which we have 50 participants who participate now in gaining access to employment. And we have about 15 people who are still on the wait list. Of that, we were going to work within the city, and we just want to make sure that we keep that relationship going. The POP program is a nonprofit that is established in Englewood and serves Englewood's residents, especially our youth. We have partnered with the Housing Authority as well to assist the seniors, of which I think Bergen Family Center for hiring me as a consultant to house, about 35 people in the Evo apartment building. So I just want to make it for the record that the POP program is a vital service for the city of Englewood. We currently have STEM programs coming up, and we're just serving the community and we're serving the children. We just want to make sure that we have that continued support of the city council, of the mayor, and everybody involved. So I just wanted to come on and just state that claim. And further council meetings, I would like to possibly see what we can do to make sure that we're partnered with everybody and that everything is conducted in decency and order, because we also have our children for their civic service to watch these city council meetings as well. And we should all know how to behave as adults. And I just support everybody, and I would like that same support on our end and not giving up because our city manager is no longer with us.
Thank you, Ms. Johnston.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Charlotte Bennett-Schoen. Please unmute.
Thank you. I did.
Thank you.
Several years ago, I was the co-president of the Historic Society, Englewood Historic Society, and right now I am the secretary of it. And at that time, the Historic Society ran 3 citywide projects using the Gatehouse. And at that time, I got to work with Gila Comet and want everybody to know that uniformly, she was responsive, helpful, and flexible. And for a nonprofit like the Historic Society that has no budget and high aspirations, somebody used the word earlier that they were shocked to hear this. In a city of Englewood, like Englewood, I was double shocked to hear it. I worked in the county a long time ago when an end run was done around my job and I went into a locked computer. So it resonated a lot. So I'm looking forward to the council addressing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Peter Jansen. Please unmute.
Thank you, Council. Pete Jansen, 589 Ridgeland Terrace. I think in your last budget meeting, the fire department presented, and they mentioned that 2 fire trucks were damaged in Ida. So I just want to make sure that we make sure that's on the list, if we can get a hold of the list, if they can print out the list from the portal. Something I've mentioned many times on council meetings is, what are the results of sending a scope down the culverts, specifically the one from ShopRite to this ice skating rink, where they already pulled out at least 1 car or 2 cars? Are there more cars down there? I still haven't gotten an answer to that question. And it's a key question, because anytime an automobile goes down a culvert, it's going to do a lot of damage all the way down as it's pushed with tons and tons of water against it on one side, as it tries to weasel its way down the pipe and get stuck. And the currents that created around the vehicle will rip apart any part of that culvert in a second. The other item I want to bring up, tonight is a council meeting for our neighboring city of Teaneck, where they are discussing and authorizing, they're authorizing that their planning board do a preliminary investigation of 359 Alfred Avenue, which is right next to the huge apartment building that's being built. It's a 2.5 acre lot. It's going to be looked at. It's in their cannabis district, and they're going to determine or try to get passed to be an area in need of redevelopment. And they're going to have a planning firm do planning to see how they might leverage that. And this is, if you go to the back of this lot, it adjoins Denning Park. This is a neighboring bordered property to Denning Park. So somebody, we got to get our lawyer, our land attorney, to find out what's going on with Teaneck and how do we stand up to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Sandy Greenberg. Keeps wanting to promote her to panelist, not just allowing her to talk. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Not letting her go through.
Yancy, do you want me to call her and see if she wants to speak to a speaker?
Okay, I think it's finally going through.
Okay.
Disappeared. She's not there anymore. Council President, she disappeared. I tried to move her and she's gone. I don't know if it was a glitch on our end or hers.
Hopefully she'll call back in.
Yeah, I'm looking through she's not on the list of attendees.
Mayor Wiles, would you call Mayor Greenberg and see if she wants to?
Yeah, let me just see. Is it Sandra Greenberg or Sandy? I mean, yeah, Sandra Greenberg. I got it. 5681. There we go. Hang on.
Yeah, read her social security number into the record too.
Yeah.
Hi. Hold on, Sandy, you're talking, nobody hears you there. Sandy, can you hear me? Sandy? I think she's delivering her remarks.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna call back.
Oh, wait, let's go to the next person. We'll try to get her.
Okay, next is Tamar Blumenthal. All right, I think there's a glitch with this thing. It wants to promote everybody to panelist.
That's okay. Just promote him. But hopefully they won't hang up on him.
There we go.
Sandy is still talking. I just wait a minute.
Is it
So
working?
mute yourself, Michael, while she.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, great, thank you. I just wanted to echo some of the earlier comments and statements to explain how horrified I am to hear about the firing of Gila Comet, somebody who has given so much time and attention to the Inglewood community. I personally know her and have seen her dedication to this community and know so many good things that she has done for the seniors, for the entirety of the community, really. It seems as though she was really fired very unjustly. And I would love for this firing to be reconsidered, and she should be hopefully reinstated if that would be possible. I just wanted to, again, tell this committee how much I have valued her tireless dedication and work to our Inglewood community and to the betterment of our community. And I hope that this is able to be recognized. And I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blumenthal.
Thank you. All right, this is going to take me a little bit longer now. Okay.
She's
Can
still
you
talking.
demote?
Where is she?
Okay.
Come on here.
Can you demote Ms. Blumenthal?
That's what I'm trying to do. It's not letting me. There we go. Okay.
All right.
All right, just for members of the public, there seems to be a glitch in the software tonight. So if I call on you, more than likely you will be placed on video. So please be prepared for that. Okay, next is Gan Yonim. Please unmute.
Hi. Sorry, yes. Hi. My name is Leslie Canner, and I've been a resident of Inglewood for 30 years. And until Gila joined the Recreation Department 10 years ago, there was never a cohesive effort to join the different groups that live in Inglewood. And with many of her programming under the Rec Department, with her basketball programming, she was running Ponies in the Park. She instituted a lot of new programs that drew a lot of people from different parts of our community. And it was wonderful to be involved in community activities that we had never done together as a whole community. So she was a great unifier of the community from the moment she joined the Rec Department. She's done great work there. And then when the pandemic hit, she pivoted and has been very involved in feeding programs, in free tutoring programs, and she's built across the board many relationships and partnerships in our community that didn't exist before. And for her to be let go for being told that she wasn't doing her job is, I think, a little bit horrifying. I will use the word horrifying. And I know the city council is saying that they're not involved in personnel decisions and it's the city manager's job. But I really feel that what's the city council for if they can't look into situations like this, when this was clearly a personnel issue with the person who's in charge of the Rec Department having an issue with her, and it was not a just firing. So I'd like the council to look into this and see if there's anything that can be done to rectify it. And I also don't think on the last day on the job that the city manager should fire when they're not here to deal with the fallout. And now that Gila is not there, there are going to be many programs that are going to fall apart, such as the feeding and the tutoring and the work that she was doing with the seniors. And there's not someone to take over and continue these wonderful programs that she's done. Thank you for allowing.
Thank you. Mayor Watts, do we have Mayor Greenberg?
I do. Mayor Greenberg, you did great in your soliloquy. You have the platform now.
Very much, Mayor. I am new to this, but I'm very proud of.
I'm very proud that you got the Zoom to work.
There were several things as quick as I can. I thought that the gentleman who spoke, two people passed before me, I mean, just before me, but two people ago, about our getting involved in what's happening in right at our border in Teaneck is very wise. When I was fighting the huge project, which was going to be much bigger than the one we have south of Route 4, it was the Leonia mayor who was extremely helpful. He was fighting it more than people in Englewood because it affected them, and people in Englewood at that time, unfortunately, were asleep. But we did get the project reduced somewhat. The second thing is, I believe I heard something tonight. I was happy to hear it about a moratorium, or at least waiting in some way, until the entire city water problems are studied. It is not just in the low-lying areas, which of course are terrible, but we must also study the hill, which affects the valley. The more building up there, the more density, we've got problems that come right down into the lower part of town. So I think we should have a moratorium on any development until we study the water problems. I begged the city to do this 2 years ago, but nothing happened. It's time already. The other thing I wanted to say, I was extremely happy to hear that the council members are taking note of some of the artists who have been living here for years and years. We've got well over a couple of hundred between the fine and performing artists. We are a town for the arts. And the mayor went to the ceremony this morning at Bergen Pack. Unfortunately, I couldn't go, but we've got so much going on, and I'm sure that and of course, Faith Ringgold, whose works I was fortunate to see in museums years ago, joins so many more people. I don't have to remind you, Kate Walking Stick, Richard Aniskewitz, George Benson, Sarah Jessica Parker. I could go on forever with an artist. And we
I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
get their work at the library also. And so that's about it for tonight. And
Thank you.
Very much, Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for your good citizenship. Okay.
Thank you. Yancy, who's next?
Okay, next is Lisa Wasatsky. Please unmute.
Good evening. I have had the good fortune to work with Elisa Wasatsky, Hutchinson Road. I have had the good fortune to work with Gila Common over the last years. She is professional, dedicated, and extremely competent. As a representative of our city, she has improved and enriched the lives of our youths and adults, including our seniors. She brought out dozens of Englewood students last spring to the McKay Park cleanup and coordinated the Englewood schools and houses of worship for food drives and distribution. She has over 120 students enrolled in free virtual tutoring. Pre-COVID, she helped coordinate Englewood's annual winter party with the Friends of the John T. Wright Arena, representing the city in an exemplary manner, helping bring together the entire Englewood community. She has been the face of our city during these difficult years. Prior to her community outreach position, she was a force in recreation, increasing quality and quantity of recreational activities, and was an outstanding program director. Gila embodies Englewood excellence, and I urge your council to reinstate her immediately. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Joyce Grossbard. I'm sorry if I'm
Grossbard, yeah.
people's names.
Good. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I want to address the termination of Gila Comet. It's a travesty. She is a tireless and talented worker who takes personal responsibility for all of the many people she helps. Her answer is always yes to any project, to any person who needs something from her. She will always find a way to help. Her work ethic is extraordinary and rare, and she always follows through. She's warm, outgoing, enthusiastic, and she's a treasure. And she should be reinstated immediately. Englewood needs her. And I would like to know if the new city manager will have the power to reinstate her. I understand the council doesn't legally have that power, but is this something that could be brought to the new city manager? And if anybody wants to answer that, I'd be really happy. Thank you.
Can I take a shot at it, Mr. Bailey, very gently as a lawyer?
Or
How
Bill,
about I do it?
yeah,
I'll be
let Bill
very-
do it.
I'm saying I'll be very delicate.
Yes, under the policies and procedures of the city of Englewood, there is a process now to evaluate what happened. While I said it's the city manager's decision, it is, but there is a process though where someone believes they're aggrieved, that it's investigated. Labor Council's already been engaged. So there is a process that goes through. So we'll have to go through that and then it'll be reevaluated.
Go to the next person.
Yeah, please.
Ben Blumenthal. Is on mute?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, like others, first of all, thank you to all the council people here taking the time. Like others, I just wanted to echo how disappointed I am, really, that Gila won't be in that position. There is a tangible a lack of really like people like Gila in public service. And I think it's our loss in this community not to have somebody like Gila. I know Gila personally. She's also helped our children at various points and always been dedicated, loving, caring, passionate, and never really saw it as just a clock punching job. She was really always had her heart fully invested in it. And I really just think beyond, what happened, I really just think we're at a loss as a town without people like Gila in those positions, facilitating opportunities and events and caring for those who need care, whether they're elderly or children or anybody else. I just think someone like Gila is an asset to any town. And we were lucky to have her and hope that we can find a way to bring her back so she can bring her talents to Englewood.
Thank you.
Next is Coach Dion. He's on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you for the time. So, of course, I am going to strictly piggyback off the entire community with regards to the firing of Gila. Let me tell you, I've been working directly with Gila for the last 2 years, at least 4 days a week. When it comes to the food distribution, when it comes to the community outreach and developing programs for the seniors, when it comes to all the children, assembling them and assisting and making sure that they're virtually involved, assigning tutors to all children. I stood there and watched her unravel that. In fact, she even brought one of the biggest programs that I've ever dealt with, Community in Kind, during the Tuesday, Table to Table, servicing all people in the community of all color. She is an outstanding person. She's there for everyone. It was no need to even go that route. I worked with her directly, boots on the ground. So I can tell you that the decision that was made was fabricated, developed, and used in a time manner when the city manager was about to resign. And with the recreation director, she's in cahoots with her. Because it's impossible to fire that woman and indicating that her position has been eliminated because she has not met the needs of the residents. Whoever came up with that idea is completely bogus. They need to be addressed and need to be terminated if they are an employee. Because that is what you do, assassinating someone's character.
Thank you, Coach. Your time is up.
Can I get about another 20 seconds, please? And I ask the board to really, really immediately bring her back and then investigate what's going on with the rec director. Because there's a lot going on. Okay, you guys know it. I brought it to the forefront. And I've even mentioned it in the past. Nothing's been done. Every employee that's been through the rec department is going almost bananas. And it's unnecessary. You don't treat no one like that. We're human beings. During the pandemic, she's been there. Now we...
Okay, Dion, thank you.
I'm living. I'm sorry. Give me one more because this is not right. When I see a person...
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
Thank you,
folks.
Dion.
We have to adhere to the 2 minutes.
And thank you for communicating with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, next is Allison Fisher. Is unmute?
Hi, I'm unmuted. I am Allison Fisher from 80 Davison Place. And I just, before I speak, want to know, my son is with me. He'd like to speak. So if only one of us can, I'll defer to him.
Go ahead. You're technically two people.
Okay, so I'll quickly just say that I also called in to give my support to Gila Comet and the fantastic job that she's done for the city of Inglewood. I know this personally from being involved in programs that she sponsored. And I also know this from being on the rec committee, which I serve on with Mr. Cobb. And Gila has, on a monthly basis, shared with us her accomplishments in writing, and happy to share that with all of you. But now I'll just turn it over to my 18-year-old son who's been listening.
Hi, I was just listening. My name is Jack. I go to Frisch in Paramus, and I just wanted to say that Gila has impacted a lot of my friends at school. She's recruited us. We've done the food packaging that some people have been talking about on Angle Street or Grand Avenue. And also we've been participating in the tutoring service, which has been very good. I did that for 2 years. I did food packaging for basically 2 years, mostly last year. This year was a little bit hard, but it was all good. And and I was on the junior rec committee, and I just wanted to say that Gila Comet, like all the people that know her in my community, which is a lot, like all my friends who know her know that like she's just like one of those people that gets things done and helps a lot of people out. And if anyone wants to start a program or do whatever, she has a very good track record. That's all I want to share.
And I was going to add in, he's also a tutor every Monday in the tutoring of the public school kids, teaching the first graders to read, which has been an incredible experience that Gila had started on. So thank you for hearing us. We also just are shocked and saddened by what's happened.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Jack.
Next is Henry Washington. Please unmute.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hi.
Yes, I just want to say that I've worked with Gila also with the Disabled Combat Veterans Youth Program with Dion Kakuta. And the whole time that I've worked with her, she's always worked so hard in doing things within the community and for the community. And every time that I see her, I see that she has her heart and there's so much passion that she puts into the work that she does for the city. And, you know, and one of the things I'm hoping that like this won't happen again to anybody else. So hopefully, you know, there'll be better things in place to prevent that from happening again. But at the same time, she should be back in her position so that way that she can continue the work that she was doing. And just to also add to that, to give you an idea of how dedicated she is, even today when I spoke to her, she was worried about the people that had emailed her that she couldn't help. So that was at the top of her mind as she was trying to figure out how to make sure she could make sure that these people got the groceries they needed that they would normally get every Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
No one else has their hand raised.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone from the public coming out tonight. Thank you for addressing us at this late hour. All right, so I'm going to close the public session, and now I'm going to open up bills and claims. Are there any questions regarding bills and claims by the council?
I think you need a motion and second first.
Okay, let's. Do I have a motion to approve bills and claims?
So move.
Second.
No questions.
I have
Any
one question.
questions?
I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Since Franz is not here, Mr. Bailey. No, you probably don't know. I don't know who's the right person for this, but on page 3 of 17, it looks like we refunded all these permits back, and probably Mr. Debchuk or somebody would have to answer that question, right?
That's the recreation. Hold on, I think it's recreation.
No, under land use, on page 3 of 17. You see this one thing, Antonio Alvarez 2. We had a bunch of permits. It looks like 6 permits. Or something to that effect that we says building permits, certificate of occupancy, gas, oil, gasoline tank, plumbing permit, electrical permit, building permit. Looks like we refunded everything. So what was it, a project or something that stopped or something?
Let's see if the part.
You see it? It's 3 of 17.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. You see it at the bottom? I mean, probably Walter or somebody just could send a note out that, huh?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the council.
Yeah, they could probably send a note, that's all. All right. Looks like, what would you say that looks like, Bill? Something like they stopped the project or something else?
Yeah, they paid. I think they're getting refunded. Sorry, I think they're getting. It looks like they're getting refunded some of the amount that they paid.
Okay, all right.
It's not everything. It's just a refund of the balance.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Okay. That's it for me.
Ms. Marin, is that your hand raised?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay. This was an auction. You just would have bought the artwork.
I didn't even think. I just had my hand up.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin,
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. Okay, no second closed session. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Oh, so move.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin,
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. So next council meeting is in 3 weeks.
April 5th.
First Tuesday in April. All right. Be well, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank
Night,
you.
thank you.
Have a good night.
Everybody.